Shalom from Israel. I'm Ariel Ben Abraham. This week we're going to reflect on chapter 40 of the book of Psalms by King David. I'm gonna read verse 1 and 2 together. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of my slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. David is acknowledging once again that we come from God. We depend on God. God sustains us. Everything in us depends on God. So even when we fall, as David did here, I waited, I made a mistake, I sinned. I waited in the Lord, God didn't abandon me. I wait. What is waiting for God? So God waits? No. God is here, presently, is everywhere. So what is David trying to tell us? I waited, patiently. We wait until we are ready to assimilate, to connect back with God, to bond with Him. It's our wait, it's our process, it's our time, the time that we need in order to reconnect with God. Now, this is the way we can understand it. We're waiting for God to, it's like, have done anything? Oh, we did something wrong and God left and we have to wait until He comes back. That's what it sounds like, but it's not what it is. We know that. We know that when we transgress, when we do something wrong, it takes time to go back. Times for our consciousness to get over the affliction, the pain that we have suffered, that we have inflicted on us because of our negative actions. The consequences of our actions, especially if they're negative. So we have to wait. That's the trial period. That's the punishment period. It's like we learn by waiting until we're prepared to go back. Not to go back in the term of, it's like to go back in our awareness of our true essence and identity. Okay? And it's interesting, David, he lifted me out of my pit. It's like I was dead, literally. He revived me. But sometimes we're dead after the decisions that we take. The consequences kill us. We lose consciousness of who we are, who we truly are. And we become our sin. See, we become a walking envy, a walking lust, walking coveting, a walking greed. David says it many times, beware of those who serve idols, because they will become like them. It's exactly what it is. Sometimes we're trapped that we cannot get out. It's called addiction, it's called obsession, it's called attachment. And we need help to get out. But we believe that we're able to get away, like go back and free ourselves, deliver ourselves from, redeem ourselves. Sometimes we can't. It's so heavy, the burden that we have created in ourselves, in our consciousness, that we're not able to go back. So we have to ask God, it's like, hey, you created this. You created the wrong choice that I made. You created as a reference and I made it a choice. Now I don't know how to get out of it. Help me. Help me, God. And we just learn from it. Go to therapy, pay an expensive rehabilitation center, and then you will be back. So you're responsible. There's no miracles here. Yeah, it may be miracle that suddenly I'm completely healed. Yes, God can do that too. But sometimes we have to do it ourselves. As lessons that we have to learn and pay for them. So we appreciate the value, the price that we have to pay in order to go back to our own true essence and identity. Okay. He sent me, end of verse 2, we didn't finish before, when I read it here. He set my feet on a rock, took me out and put me in a solid place, and gave me a firm place to stand. That's what we call in Judaism the Suriel, our rock. God is our rock. Rock is like where we stand firm. Of course, it's not a rock. What is the meaning of a rock in this case? A principle. So we live by principle. That's our rock. And we stand firm. We don't move out of this rock. So we call God a rock, or principle, his ways and attributes. Okay. 3, he put a new song in my mouth. It made me happy. A new song, a new consciousness in my mouth. I express myself in a different way. An anthem, a hymn of praise to our God. So it's like he put in my consciousness his ways and attributes so I can be them and be happy with them. This is what it means. So praising God is not hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. It's doing, being and having God's ways and attributes in everything we think, we feel, we say, and we do. Many will see and fear the Lord, revere the Lord, and put their trust in him. So once we know that out of all ego's fantasies and illusions, that we know that we cannot live by them or for them because they're temporary, they're futile, it's a waste of vital force to become their servants, their slaves. Once we know that, we see, many will see and revere, no, and put the trust in him. It's like, now I'm going to trust the creator of all, from where I came from everything that I thought I created, everything comes from him. I'm going to go back to him. So David is saying, a lot of people find out this way back. Do the same. Let's do the same. 4, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. What are the false gods? Egos, fantasies, and illusions. False gods is what we create. That's what are false. They are not real. They are not true. It's out of our own inventions. Egos, fantasies, and illusions. Okay? It's interesting making an ethical statement, and we have to trust God not to be like the arrogant. What is the arrogant? The one that separates himself from the oneness of reality. Like, I'm here, you're there, I'm better than you, I'm different than you, I'm my own reality. And to remind us the Pharaoh when Moses and Aaron came to see him, he said, who is your God? So Moses answered, the God that created everything, the only true God. And Pharaoh answered, this is in the Torah. He said, I don't know that God. Because God, Pharaoh believed that he was a God. He said, I don't know that God. I know myself. I don't know God. That's why our sages equate Pharaoh to ego, the egocentric mentality. It's like, I'm the only one who exists. There's nothing, not even God, only me. So this is what David is warning us. Like, trust in God, And don't be arrogant. Don't separate yourself from the oneness of the God's creation. Okay? Those who turn aside to false gods. 5, verse 5. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders that you have done, the things that you planned for us, that you created for us. No one can compare with you. No, nobody's like you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare. It's like your creations are unfathomable. I mean, we cannot imagine, conceive anything. You are beyond conception. So David is exercising humbleness. It's like the moment that I recognize that everything is you and you don't feel the expectations of my imagination, my mind. We're doing the right thing. No one can compare to you. No one can define you. That's what it means, compare you. Nobody can. And he does everything, wonders, things that are planned for us, that are made for us. So David is acknowledging God's power over his creation, that we belong to him, that he's created this world for us. You know, in the Talmud says we have to wake up every morning thanking God for saying, you have created the world for me, for my own individual sake, for me as an individual. God created all this for us. So David, recognizing this principle, approaches God. 6, sacrifice and offering you did not desire. Say, we're going to bring you bulls and that kind of thing. I mean, we have to because you asked us, but you don't need this. You're God. So David is teaching us to perceive God in this unperceivable way. Like, don't try to put it in a box. Don't do that. Don't make this mistake. It's beyond conception. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears you have opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you did not require. Now, it sounds like a contradiction that David is saying, but the Torah is ordering many times that we have to bring sacrifice to him. Yes. Elevate our consciousness to him. Bring something that is of a satisfying aroma to him. What is the satisfying aroma? The goodness that he wants from us. God doesn't smell. I mean, have the sense of a smell. Make it clear. And he doesn't smell either. So anyway, David is telling us, anything we do, we have to do the best we can to be close to him. Those are offerings. He doesn't need them. We have to give it to him because we belong to him. Everything we do, the goodness that he wants us to be, we have to bring it back to him. He wants that from us. He wants us to be and to do. He doesn't need anything from us. That's what David is telling us. Pay attention. Don't go there with an agenda. Oh, I'm going to bring this sacrifice because God needs my bull, needs my sheep. No. This is about us, it's not about him. That's what David is telling us. He said, don't waste your time. It's like, bring the offering, but bring it because it belongs to him. It's you that you are elevating to him. And make yourself an instrument of his creation. So he does whatever he wants us to do, according to what he creates in his plans, whatever. But it's not ours. It's his. 7. Then I said, here I am, I have come. It is written about me in the scroll. I desire, verse 9, I desire to do your will, my God. Your law is within my heart. This is the consequence of the previous introduction. I'm going to do your will. I'm going to do your law. I'm going to follow what you say. It's easy. If we believe and we trust that God's the creator of all and he has a plan, let's make ourselves available to his will. That's what David is asking us to do. I desire to do your will, my God. The law is Your law is within my heart. It's the reason of my existence. It's my essence and true identity. Your will, your law, your desire. You made me, I'm your desire. Make me your desire. Beautiful praise. 9. I proclaim your redeeming, saving acts in the great assembly. The assembly of wise men. It was the Knesset, the parliament in those times. The wisest men were sitting there, doing justice when people needed justice. So I proclaim your redeeming acts in the great assembly. Like David the king comes and say, God is the greatest, lo máximo, máximo, máximo. I do not seal my lips, Lord. I don't shut up. I will say this, as you know. Verse 10, I do not hide your righteousness in my heart. See, David is talking about the ethics of God's love. You want things to go right, to be good. I'm not hiding that. Your righteousness, I'm not hiding it from my heart. I'm not hiding it from my heart. That in my heart is mentioned before. I have your law is in my heart. It's part of my identity. I speak of your faithfulness and your saving help. I do not conceal your love and your faithfulness, your loving kindness and faithfulness from the great assembly. In other words, David is the king who's talking to the assembly of wise men. It's Congress. We share the same values here. This is what we have to follow. David is making sure that everybody, his people, share the same value, the same principle. That's why he's referring to the great assembly. 11. Do not withhold your mercy, your compassion from me, Lord. Be compassionate to me. Do me goodness so I could go back to goodness. May your loving kindness and faithfulness always protect me. By your loving kindness and truth. This is not faithfulness, truth. Rav Chesed Be'emet will always protect me. We said before that one of our personal prayers, we don't ask for things, money, success, anything. We only ask, we share that with you. We invite you to reflect on this. We ask in the opportunity that we have to ask in the Jewish prayers, the standing one, Shmona Esrei Amida, in these windows that are open to ask. We ask, God, give us your abundant loving kindness and truth. Guide me, protect me, comfort me, and sustain me. It's very simple. Why? You don't have to. God knows what we want. So we tell him, we ask him. Your abundant loving kindness. Loving kindness is love that is not deserved. It's called Chesed in Hebrew. It's not Ahava. Ahava is love. Chesed is loving kindness. Air is Chesed. We breathe even if we don't deserve to live. We breathe. That's loving kindness. God's loving kindness. That's why I say the 13 attributes of mercy. You know, the ways and attributes of God revealed to Moses. Book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 6 and 7. He doesn't say love, ahava. He says Rab Hesed Ve'emet. Rahum Behanum, compassionate, graceful. He doesn't say love, he says loving kindness. Something bigger in terms of projection. like implications of love. So that's what we ask for. It's like, we're undeserving people. We don't deserve anything. We're a bunch of sinners. We don't do things right. We make mistakes. Every other moment we make mistakes. So we ask you for your loving kindness and truth. Not faithfulness, truth. Truth as faithfulness, but in this case it's about translation. It's truth. It's like, may your truth, your ethical principle, your love, the way you love us, sustain me, protect me, guide me, and comfort me. That's it. When we want help, your abundant loving kindness will provide for me. Now, that doesn't mean that if we have a specific request, of course we ask. Of course. But again, God knows. We don't have to remind him. Look at me, I'm sick. He knows I'm sick. Hey, my wife is not feeling well. He knows that too. Oh, I'm looking for this job opportunity. He knows that too. Just tell him. May your loving kindness, David is saying it here, and truth always protect me. Shield. It's like I'm inside of these qualities. Those are my shield. I'm inside of them. Okay. Verse 12. For troubles without number surround me. My sins have overtaken me. I cannot see. We're blinded by envy, we're blinded by lust, we're blinded by coveting, we're blinded by wrath, we're blinded by arrogance. We're blind. We don't see clearly. We see what we want to see. This is a self-centered consciousness. That's what David is saying. My sins are overtaken, I cannot see. I lost my consciousness, I lost my identity, I lost who I am. I lost my connection with you. I, not God, I. They are more than the hairs of my head. We're talking about lots of things. So David is confessing, hey, I'm not perfect, I made mistakes. As many as the hairs that I have in my head. And my heart fails within me. I'm dying. All these things are killing me, literally. The consequences of my sins. Verse 13. Be pleased, have compassion to redeem me, to save me, Lord. Come quickly, Lord, help me. David is in trouble. We're in trouble. We are in deep problems. We need God's help. I cannot get out of this. Not by myself. So by my arrogance, my haughtiness, it's nothing now. I'm lost. I cannot do anything. Now I know that I have to be humble. Because the same arrogant who made me fall is the same arrogant cannot get me out. I was trusting my own wrong perception of myself. Does it make sense? 14. May all who want to take my life, talking about these negative things that trap us, be put to shame and confusion. In other words, all these negative things that I have, they shouldn't exist. They should be confused, removed from our consciousness. May all who desire my ruin be turned back in disgrace. I want to tell envy, don't follow me. I don't want you. I don't want you to fall to you. I don't want you to confuse me. I don't want you to be my ruin. Be your own ruin, not mine. Obviously, it's referring to those who try to seduce him to do negative things. Like, hey, go in your own way. Don't drag me. The first chapter of the book of Psalms is about that. Happy are those who never dwell with the wicked. This is the first statement to understand the Psalms. It's an ethical principle. We have to choose goodness. That's what it is. That's what it's about. So he's asking God to remove all these things out of my consciousness. Verse 15, may those who say to me, aha, aha, be appalled at all at their own shames, like may, envy, lust, indifference, indolence, arrogance, wrath, fall by their own shame. Be ashamed of you, wrath. Be ashamed of you, envy. Be ashamed of you, lustful man or lustful woman. Like, hey, be ashamed of the own handicap that you put in your consciousness, your own addiction, your own obsession. Get out of there. That's not your place. Free yourself from your own negative inventions that you became a slave of. But may all who seek you, God, rejoice and be glad in you. May those who pursue goodness be happy in goodness. May those who long for your saving, redeeming help always say, the Lord is great. We have to look forward to make enthrone the goodness of love's ways and attributes in every aspect of consciousness and area, and manifest in every dimension and facet of life for the sake of goodness. 17. But as for me, and the last verse of this chapter 40, but as for me, I'm poor and needy. May the Lord think of me. You are my help. You are my deliverer. You are my God. Do not delay. So David is exercising and reaffirming, reiterating, repeating his humbleness. Like, I have learned the lesson. I know. Now I know that only you can get me out of my own iniquities, the consequences of them. You are the only one who made me wait, to make me understand and assimilate the lesson. So I thank you for this. And I'm poor and needy. I'm nothing. I need you. I need to breathe. I need your principles. I need your goodness. I need your commandment. I'm poor. I need you. I'm empty. That's what poor means. So some people associate humility, humbleness with being poor. It's not being poor like not having and lacking. It's not about lack. It's about being empty of what we don't need. And for this we only need God's abundant loving kindness and truth. That's all we need. Nothing else. In his abundant loving kindness and truth, we're delivered, we're redeemed, we're saved. Because you are my God, do not delay. It's like, yeah, I have to learn my lesson. I'm waiting for you, but please do not delay. So he began asking about waiting, and he ends the chapter saying, please don't delay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to give me the awareness of being close to you, and forget about what I did, and be anew and start pursuing better goals. To expand the goodness that you have made me, because I am your creation. I came out of your goodness, out of your love, God's love. Okay, so with this, we finish our reflections on chapter 40 of the book of Psalms by King David, wishing you, as usual, an abundantly blessed week with abundant loving kindness and truth of God's love. We also wish you Shabbat Shalom, and until next week.